Yeah, if you could. Hey, everybody, we're back with another week of webinars. This is the Hyperbaric Gurus here with John, our doctor, and Bill. We're here to talk about something special. We've had a few different patients come in through our clinics through the years who have had autism, or people or friends or family with autism. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So I want to kick this off a little bit differently than we normally do. I want to start with Bill because he he wasn't on the phone very much today or talking too much at all. So I wanted to kick it off with him. I'm just kidding. But so we have a special story about a child with autism that's coming to our clinic. You know that story.
Well, we've worked with a lot of autistic children, and I think that more and more the public is becoming aware of what the hyperbaric chamber can do for the autistic child. I'm going to tell a little story first. Over 400 professional football players own hyperbaric chambers because on Mondays they feel like crap. They're battered, they're bruised, and the hyperbaric chamber gets rid of their inflammation and it increases their healing time back to 70%. Now, if 3 or 4 football players own chambers, it wouldn't be much of a statement. But the fact that hundreds of them do is because they've seen the benefit and the word has spread. Well, it's the same thing in the autistic world. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families now own hyperbaric chambers. I almost guarantee you they don't own them because their doctors recommended them. They own them because other people in the autistic community have spread the word to others on what this has done for their child. I think the story that Brad's relating to is I had a lady come in with her 29-month-old son who was autistic. He had so much inflammation in his feet, he couldn't wear shoes. He had so much inflammation in his hands, he could barely wiggle his fingers. You know, if he had inflammation in his hands and his feet, he had it up here too. After the 4th session in the chamber, the mom came in with tears in her eyes. Her son was wearing shoes, he could wiggle his fingers, and she said she had established eye contact with her for the very first time. You know how emotional that is for a mom? All of a sudden, 29-month-old son looks her in the eyes for the very first time. It was emotional. After the 10th treatment, I asked her, how is Leon doing? Are you still seeing improvement? She said, it's not just us. His physical therapist said, whatever you're doing, don't stop. And this is a story that's told time after time after time after time. We have a sister clinic in Atlanta that's run by a tremendous individual by the name of Bill Schindler. And Bill has been doing this for 14, 15 years. And he has helped so many autistic children. It's not funny. And he can't talk to you and start telling you stories without getting emotional. I admire everything he's done, and he kind of pioneered the way for us in the hyperbaric world. So anyway.
He has. We talked a little bit about him last week too, and one of these days I would like to get him on this show so we can hear from the mastermind himself. So I'm going to switch over here to Dr. Cornell. I have a few questions for you.
All right.
So, what is autism?
Well, autism is a disorder, a dysfunctional disorder in children. And it normally happens around the age that they're just getting ready to talk, or slightly before that time. They're doing research on it now. They've come up with all kinds of different things that have stimulated and caused this. They're not saying that it is a direct cause by inoculations, but they're saying shortly after the inoculations, maybe a day or two or hours, shortly after that inoculation, there's something in that that stimulates this autistic problem, and it's a disorder. They find they're more self-contained. The children, they entertain themselves. They don't like to have a lot of social interaction around them. Eye contact is lessened, and speech problems are developed from this. So there's a lot of different things. Asperger's is another form of autism, only that's a little higher form of autism, where they're good mathematically with numbers and remembering things. Everybody remembers the movie Rain Man, and that was about an autistic individual. Certain things set them off. They have to have a routine that's set up, and if that routine is broken up, then their dysfunction is greater. For example, everybody remembers the movie Rain Man, where he had to watch Judge Judy or Judge whatever it was every night at a certain time, and he'd get really upset if he didn't see that movie. So orderly things in their life that they do, the time they get up, the time they go to bed, the time they eat, the time that they indulge in certain activities, those have to be regulated. They just don't handle them very well if they're not.
So, what exactly? No, you may not know the answer to this question, but if you do, awesome. And this is a question that I have. What exactly does it affect? Like autism, what parts of the body does it actually affect?
Brain. It affects and know everything about it. Whether it's the frontal lobe, the mid lobe, or posterior portion of the brain. They're thinking that all of them are affected to a certain point. The cognitive part isn't functional, and sometimes coordination is malfunctioning. So there's a lot of different areas of the brain, because they all affect the frontal cortex is where they may have the cognitive dysfunction, but it can affect other parts of the brain. So they're doing a lot of research on this now. Now, is it widely researched like heart attacks and cancer? No, they're doing a lot of research.
So now, this being a new thing for me, I'm trying to number one, I'm trying to help everyone else understand as well as us. Do you know what's causing that disconnect between a normal child who's running around, playing, laughing, joking, making eye contact, to looking away, not making eye contact, being afraid, etc., freaking out, that sort of thing. And I have a question I'm going to ask Bill after this, after your answer here, but what do you think?
Well, like I was saying earlier, the dysfunction in there, and they're not sure whether it's an inflammatory process. It could be whether it's a chemical malfunction. It could be. They're not sure. They're doing, like I say, they're doing a lot of research.
Exactly.
The fact that a lot of children are stimulated right after they've had inoculation, whether it's a chemical component that sets off this trigger, they don't know.
So, with that being said, I'm going to go back over here to Bill and ask him a question. With that being said, how, everybody heard the story here about the child, the 29-month-old baby who
with swelling.
was swelling, going down, started making eye contact, started talking, etc. How do you think it helps? The hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah. It helps in a lot of different ways. You know, if there's inflammatory issues in the brain, it's reducing inflammation. There's rumors that a lot of
Give it a minute.
there's rumors that a lot of autistic children are more susceptible to toxins in the air. Just like when somebody that's allergic to a cat walks into a room and it doesn't affect anybody in the room except them. There's a rumor that children with autism pick up toxins in the air that basically create issues with them. But you know, one of the issues with a lot of autistic children are their moods and their mood swings. And we get many people that come in that talk about they don't know if they can get their autistic child in the hyperbaric chamber. He's too violent. He won't stay in the chamber. And it's amazing after just a couple of sessions how the mood in that child has completely changed. And they come and say, we have a different child at home. And I know it's a serious, serious, serious concern among parents, especially with older autistic children. I know parents who have locked themselves in the bathroom to get away from their violent autistic child and have to call the police. We want to avoid that if we can. The challenge with the hyperbaric chamber and autism in my book, I can sit here and tell you that with a stroke victim, there's probably a 99% chance that that stroke victim is going to see improvement. I can't do that with an autistic child. We have seen miracles, and then we have seen children that have not benefited the way that we wanted. They benefited, but nowhere near. There's one story I read about where a couple had purchased a hyperbaric chamber for their son, and they did 50 treatments in it and saw no improvement whatsoever. And they were going to put the chamber on the market and sell it because it wasn't helping. And all of a sudden, after the 50-second treatment, the lights came on. And it was a miracle. I have a father in Wisconsin right now that has a child, and he is so praying that the chamber's going to do what he wants it to do, but it's helped, but not to the point that we want it to. We're continuing to hope that at some point in time it does. So the thing with autism and hyperbaric therapy is that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families own hyperbaric chambers because they have seen the benefit. But there's also some out there that haven't seen it. And we have to make everybody aware of that there are no guarantees. One thing we can guarantee is not going to hurt you. It's a win-win. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. How much you gain, I don't know. Everybody's different.
So let's go back over here to Dr. Cornell. I have a question for you. So, you know, we talked a little bit about some stories. You know, that was coming out of Montreal, baby, the father of Wisconsin, a few other amazing miracles and not so amazing miracles that we've seen so far, but they've all been improvements. You know, why, not necessarily why, Dr. Cornell, what do you, in your opinion, what do you think, why do you think you would have these people after the 50th treatment they're getting also. I mean, it's almost impossible to tell. It's such a new study. You know, we're here to. The reason we're talking about it, the reason I'm asking such hard questions, is because this is not a lighter subject. I mean, it's a real struggle that people deal with every day. I'm trying to find out if we have something that can help. I want to help. And so, what do you think?
Well, the dysfunction could be, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about. One of them is simply we've seen with the water that we're using here that we make sure all of our patients have Kangen water when they leave, and they're bringing in gallon containers, empty gallon containers, and filling it up with water while they're here. But we've seen improvement with the blood vascular system right after they've been in a chamber. And in fact, we have videos of that. My in there moving. If that's true, we're getting more oxygen to the brain, more blood to the brain that's enriched with oxygen in it. And that's probably the reason why all of a sudden the lights turn on and they start functioning.
Yeah. So that it makes sense. So the more oxygen, I'll bring Bill back in here. So the more oxygen you're going to get, the more, I guess, chances that something's going to go right.
Well, first of all, a lot of your questions from Dr. Cornell, there just aren't answers. If we had answers, then we would be able to solve the problem. But the reality is that the hyperbaric chamber is increasing the blood and oxygen flow throughout the body and into the brain. So when you have an increase in blood and oxygen flow into the brain, you have an increase in clarity and you have an increase in focus. The other thing is that inflammation in the brain is one of the characteristics of many autistic children. So the hyperbaric chamber is reducing inflammation. Well, when something's inflamed, it damages the cells from the inflammation around it. Well, that's the other thing the hyperbaric chamber does. It reduces the inflammation, but then it repairs and rejuvenates damaged cells. So, and then if we combine with detoxifying the body and getting rid of a buildup of toxins, all of a sudden you start having an effect that many people see in their autistic children.
You know, Dr. Cornell brought up an interesting point, and we'll put this on our, we'll put that video up on our Google Plus after this webinar is over, of the blood vascular system and the increase of oxygen cells and oxygen flow throughout the body before and after hyperbaric therapy. That's an interesting point that you were making, Bill, about increasing oxygen. Me being a traumatic brain injury patient, here I am. I've seen the most benefit probably out of all of us here. Well, maybe not all of us, but with a hyperbaric treatment, and I know it works, but it's all dependent with autism how much is it going to work. And this is a tough subject for us because there's a lot of research, but there's not a lot of answers. And with that being said, Bill, what do you think? We kind of covered a little bit about what it can do, how it can help, what we think it might do, what we've seen. For the parents and the families and the children, all the people who are watching right now, what do you think? And feel free to chime in here, if you want to. What do you think the best advice that we could give them? right now who are the people who are looking for answers?
The best advice, try it. Because we have nothing to lose. I had stage 4 throat cancer 8 years ago. And one person said, cry right machine. I did. Another person said, do vitamin C IV drip. I did. Another person said, do a pulsation. I did. Wheatgrass, cottage cheese and flaxseed oil, you name it, I tried it. The hyperbaric chamber is not going to hurt, and you don't know what it's going to do until you try it. You can speculate all you want. Maybe this will help. Maybe it won't. But what have you got to lose by trying it? You know, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. The best advice, nobody's going to give you the answer.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to sit here and guarantee you this is going to do this or this is going to do that. Or it won't do this or it won't do that. Both sides are wrong. Until you try it, you're not going to know. And if I had a son that was autistic, and I thank God that my children were okay, I would do everything in the book, and most parents do. Most parents have emptied their wallet crying to help their child. But we have seen there are so many positive testimonies from parents with autistic children that have seen improvement. Why would they ignore that?
So in other words, stop emptying your wallet and look for results.
Well, it's not
Tell
free.
them, but I mean, what I'm saying is consolidate. You know,
No,
everybody's telling you to go, you know, to do it like you were just saying. No side is right. You know, tell them the story about when you had cancer. One doctor is telling you one thing. You're going to die if you don't do this. The other doctor is telling you the exact opposite. You're going to die if you don't do that.
Right. Yeah, and the bottom line is everybody's speculating.
Mm-hmm.
But we're speculating with lies. And I'm a carrier with the hyperbaric chamber. There's the possibility, if not the probability, that this is going to benefit your child. What nobody can tell you is how much. But it's not just the child that should be using it. You put a hyperbaric chamber in your home. I'm biased. We see miracles in our clinics every single day. I believe that every family in the United States should find a way to put a hyperbaric chamber in their home. It will add years to their life and life to their years. It will reduce their risk of cancer. It will reduce their risk of stroke. It will reduce their risk of dementia. Be proactive instead of reactive. So everybody in the family should use the chamber on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And we live in what type of society?
We live in a reactive society. We wait until we get sick before we do something about it.
Everything is reactive. Think about what you do. We're always reacting to things. When we're proactive, it seems to be when we have the less problems. But everybody's so reactive to the problems that come to them without being proactive on it. And that's why I asked that question just now, because Cornell, would you agree with that? What do you think?
We're proactive in certain things and reactive in others. We brush our teeth every morning so we don't get cavities and try to take good care of our teeth. We wash our bodies so we don't stink and smell. And yet nobody ever thinks about trying to get more oxygen in their bodies so they're healthier, they're richer, they have less chance of having a heart attack. Who knows? I mean, eventually they may do research that they'll find out that children that have been in incubators because they were born early never developed autism. So I know one of the questions that came in is why more boys than girls get autism. And I think that's a genetic factor is the reason why.
Oh, and just real quick, by the way, that was actually a question that was sent in to us. But Julie, she was asking that question. So anyway, go ahead.
So I think that we are proactive in some things, taking vitamins and minerals, but other things we don't think about until after it happens. Diabetes from eating incorrectly and fatty foods and putting sugars on things. Heart attacks from putting too much salt on our foods and more than we should have on there. So there's a lot of things that we are proactive in, but more things that we should be proactive in than we are. We exercise,
And that brings up the point is, to me it makes sense, and the reason it makes sense is like Bill, like Doug, you want to scoot over so we can get you in that screen too. There we go. Like both of these days, I had my struggle too. I had my say by a drunk driver, and I went through all kinds of different procedures, different things that were recommended from my doctors. And in the end, the thing that most benefited me was the hyperbaric chamber. And people ask, what's a hyperbaric chamber? What does it do, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we talk about it every single week. We have new people signing up, watching us every single week. So, with that being said, I'm going to actually ask Bill a question. I ask him every week because I want people to know what it does. What is a hyperbaric chamber?
Oxygen under pressure. And you basically are in a hyperbaric chamber. You're breathing 95% oxygen, but the key is the pressure. The pressure is forcing that oxygen into your cells, into your tissues, and into your body fluid. You're basically healing from the inside out, not the outside in. You're inhaling 95% oxygen through a mask, then the pressure is forcing that into the cells and tissues. To me, one of the biggest challenges or problems that we have is that we have too many people giving opinions that really don't know what they're talking about. We operate a chain of hyperbaric clinics. We deal with people every day. We can sit here and tell you what the chambers can do, and just as important, we can tell you what it can't do. There's a lot of doctors out there that will tell you, I don't know that much about hyperbaric therapy. And I appreciate their honesty. But then in the next sentence, they say, but I don't think it's going to help you.
And how do they know?
So why even give an opinion? Because the patient values your opinion. But it's not just doctors. It's family members. Oh, you're wasting your money. I'll tell you the story of our very first MS patient. She came in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. She couldn't talk. I'm sorry, that's not true. She couldn't feed or bathe herself. And she lived in what she called an MS fog. Her doctor had just told her, you're a year away from a nursing home. You're 3 months away from diapers. She went back to that doctor after meeting us and said, I want to try hyperbaric therapy. It's the #1 treatment in Europe for MS.
Japan too.
And her doctor told her, you know what, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, but we've tried everything else. It's not going to hurt you. Today, that lady is working 40 hours a week off of all of her meds, and her doctor just bought a hyperbaric chamber from us for his office. But he sat there and gave her advice without really not having the knowledge. if you want information on what the hyperbaric chambers can do and can't do, talk to and listen to the experts. Don't listen to the family members. I know. It's sad that insurance doesn't cover hyperbaric therapy, especially for autism, based on the overwhelming testimonials that are out there on what it's done. But because it doesn't, I don't care how bad somebody's pain is, the pain of pulling your wallet out hurts more. And I understand that and I respect that. But if you want, but so many of these people are listening to family members that don't know anything about hyperbaric therapy. They're listening to friends and they're listening to some doctors that freely admit they don't have the knowledge. Talk to the experts. Talk to the people that treat people every day with hyperbaric chambers. They'll tell you the truth. They're not going to mislead you, but they're the ones that can give you an honest answer. They're the only people that can give you an honest answer.
Well, for example, you went through cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You gave the chamber every single day.
Tried to.
Tried it. Me, I was released from the hospital for failure to improve. I couldn't speak. I couldn't walk. I was just a vegetable. And when my mom, I love my mom, she found out about hyperbaric therapy. All of my doctors I went to, I love the doctors I went to, but UC Davis in California, that most people have heard about it. I went to a few other, I'm not going to name, high prestigious hospitals. They all said no. Hyperbaric therapy will not help him. He's going to be wheelchair ridden. He won't walk again. He won't be able to talk full sentences.
Still can't do that.
Sometimes. But here I am. I scuba dive. I ski, snowboard, rock climb. I do all kinds of amazing things. And I attribute that, and this is what I'm talking about talking to the experts. It's not that I'm an expert, or Bill's an expert, or John's an expert. It's that we've been there. We've seen it. We've dealt with it. We've been through it, and we understand it. And that's what we're trying to help you guys with on this webinar. This is the whole reason we're here, to give you knowledge. And so I was going to ask Dr. Cornell another question, but I think I'm going to ask you. How can I get a hold of you, Bill?
My phone is with me 24 hours a day. Call me at 253-363-0500. If I don't answer, leave a message. It's because I'm with the patient or on the phone. But we operate a chain of clinics, so we can answer your questions. If you want a chamber for your home, we do sell chambers all over the world. We represent the best chambers on the market. So give me a call. I'll give you the honest answer to your questions. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We started this. We started our hangouts. We started these webinars because we call ourselves the hyperbaric gurus. Not because we think we know everything, but we talk about from what we do know. And so now we're wrapping up. I'm going to go ahead and if you guys want to talk to me, talk more about what I've been through or what Bill's been through. You know Bill's number. My number is 206-794-8229. Again, 206-794-8229. You can give me a call anytime. If I don't answer, again, leave a message like you would with Bill, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Dr. Cornell, if people want to talk to you, they have more technical questions, things like that, how can they get a hold of you?
Call me at 253-549-1271, or they can call Linda, who manages the clinic here, and her number is 253-549-1270.
Perfect. So, another question for you, Dr. Cornell. Now we're just about done with this. I have a couple more questions I'm going to ask Bill here before we wrap it up. But what are some preventative measures? So for all the people who are here watching, who are looking for treatment, but also while they're searching for that treatment, hopefully they try hyperbaric therapy. What are some preventative measures that people can do to help prevent or help slow down, stop autism that we know?
Well, until they do more research, one of the things is I would have them really research the chemicals that they're putting in the body when they inoculate a child. Now, the MDs, the pharmacies actually that formulate these inoculations, they're saying, well, it's not the inoculations that's causing it. And I'm not saying it is the inoculations that's causing it. There's a trigger somehow, and the trigger is affected by the inoculation, the chemical.
So it could be a little bit of too much of one type of chemical that they're putting into the body that causes a trigger or something.
Whatever it is.
Speculating.
Whatever it is that they're inoculating them for. And they'll inoculate a child with 18 different shots. And so keep the body healthy. Breastfeed the child, because we all know that our immune system is built up by the mother's breastfeeding, because a child doesn't have an immune system that's built. He actually gets his immunity out of the mother's milk. So that helps nutritionally keep the child, nutritionally sound by giving them proper foods and keeping them away from sugars. We know that sugars cause a lot of things besides cancer. Diabetes feeds on sugars, and it may be a lot of sugar content that is one of the stimulants for autism. We don't know.
Okay.
So those are a few things that they could do. And like I say, the book's still open. They're doing a lot of research right now on autism. When more things are out, we'll be able to explain a little bit more in depth. We know that it affects different parts of the brain. One of them is the cognitive center of the brain. Speech, obviously it affects where their muscular performance is different, and they just don't develop like a regular child would develop.
Awesome. I mean, some good pointers here. Now, before we wrap it up here and we talk about our next topic for next week, Bill, what are some different options for people? What can they do if they decide to start? If they really decide to come to us, ask us questions, get more knowledge from us, what are some different options that they can do moving forward?
Well, let me bring a couple of things up. First of all, they can call us and talk about coming in for treatment versus putting a hyperbaric chamber in their home. The reality of that is that frequency is an issue with hyperbaric therapy. If you want to see the benefits, it's something you need to do on a frequent basis. For many people, if not most people, it makes more sense for them to purchase a chamber and put it in their home than it is to come in for treatment. Most of our clients end up purchasing a chamber after they've seen the benefits of what the chamber can do for them. The reality is that in the long run, it's more cost effective to do that. But the bigger issue is that most people don't have the ability to take 2 to 3 hours out of their day every single day to come in for treatment. And if you want to see the benefits, that's a commitment you have to make. I see we have a question there. How young is too young for a child to get in the chamber? Good question. I know of babies that 6 months old that have spent time in the chamber. If you're going to do that, though, I would do it without the oxygen. I wouldn't use the oxygen until they were at least a year old. That's my personal opinion, but many people have gone into the chamber with their baby. Another question there.
Well, real quick, thanks for answering the question, because we did have some questions. I was going to get to that next. I wanted to finish up about what their options were, but if you want to jump into questions.
There's just another question there. My child is extremely violent. How do I get him into the chamber? I don't know, put him in handcuffs and shackles and throw him in, but no. Driving was something he loves to do. Maybe he wants to watch a movie or something.
And you'll know what he wants to do.
Yeah, and that's probably what we have found, is that the children actually enjoy going into the chambers. That it's like getting into a camp. There's a sense of security in there, and they actually start looking forward to the experience. So you may have to bribe him the first few times to get him in there, but the more he gets in there, I think the more he's going to enjoy it.
The first question, just so everybody knows, the first question was from Mary. She was asking about how young is too young, and then Shannon was the other one. Now I have another question from Tom. Tom was asking, how do you know if your child has autism?
The doctor tells you. You take him in, and he's diagnosed. I think that you were going to suspect it, and that's why you're going to take him to the doctor in the first place. But the doctor's the one that will let you know.
So basically, more specifically, just a little bit, signs of autism. Is that something I should ask Dr. Cornell, or do you think you can answer that? Or?
I probably can't answer
Okay. Well, maybe Dr. Cornell can't, but let's ask him. So, Dr. Cornell, what do you think? So Tom was asking. He said, "What?" He was asking, how do you know if your child has autism? Well, I'm guessing. Now, Tom, I could be wrong. I'm guessing you're asking, what are the signs? Because your doctor will tell you if he has autism or not. But what are the signs? What's going to spur you to say there's something wrong here? And do you?
A lot of nonverbal communication, not making eye contact like they were before. A child, even as a baby, you'll see that a child looks up as their eyesight starts developing more and more. They'll start making eye contact with parents. They recognize their voice. They'll look up in that direction. So certain things like that. And then those are some of the signs and symptoms that they know. And then they start doing other things. As they get older, they can check the cognitive ability of the child, see how their speech problems develop. If there's more of a problem with the speech, then that's a sign and a symptom too. So there's certain things to look for, and like I say, there's a key somewhere. Something stimulates it, and we're not sure what the trigger is. But
Perfect. Well, hopefully that answered you guys' question as much as it can. If you want to talk to us, please feel free to call us any time of the day. If you have to call us at night, that's okay too.
Yeah.
We do answer our phones most all the time. You guys can scream if you want, but we do answer our phones all hours of the day, because we're in the business of helping people, and that's what we do. So to wrap it up here, we're going about 45 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little summary. If you want to go check out our website, we have a website, Alaska Hyperbaric. It's plural, so it's alaskahyperbarics.com. We have a lot of information on there. We also have different chambers. Should you be looking for a chamber to put in your house, if frequency you feel is going to become an issue, or something that you don't think you'll be able to handle or drive into the clinic every single day, that type of thing, it might be an idea to look at buying a chamber. And Bill is our resident expert when it comes to selling a chamber. And also, we're all here to help as far as it comes to, coming into our clinics, et cetera, et cetera. So give us a call. Next week, we're excited for our next topic. We'll release that on our Facebook page tomorrow. So it's an H3 Facebook page. Also, feel free to go into our Google Plus page. We have all of our webinars. We've covered cancer. We've covered now autism. We've covered addiction. We've covered stroke. I mean, we have so much information that we're putting out there for you guys to help on your decision-making process so that you don't keep emptying your wallet for nothing, for something, and yeah, we are speaking from our experience, but we have a lot of studies backing us. So, anything else you guys would like to add?
I can't think of anything. If they have any questions, give us a call. If they have any questions about utilizing our services here at the clinic, give Linda a call at 253-549-1270.
Perfect. And then, Bill, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I want to add one more thing. A question I get a lot, basically there's two types of chambers. There's the hard chamber, which goes to higher pressure, and there's the mild pressure, which is FDA certified for in-home use and used in many clinics. And I get asked a lot, does my child need the higher pressure? Will the mild pressure do what the high pressure will do? If they want to give me a call at 253-363-0500, I have some research papers that show that autistic children actually respond better at 1.3 ATA than they do at the higher pressure. And I'd be glad to share that with the people, and they could in turn share that with their doctors. So,
that's actually brings up, now that you said that, make sure you check our Facebook too, because we have information on there that's invaluable and can help you make a decision like that or not. We have some information that I've been down on 95% oxygen versus 100%. That question comes up every once in a while too. We have all that information on our Facebook. Check that out. Like I said, we will have the blood vascular posted up on our Facebook and on Google Plus either tonight or tomorrow morning on about on how the blood flows differently versus being in the chamber or not being in the chamber. So. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. And we're excited for our next webinar. We love giving as much information as we can. Again, 253-363-0500, 206-794-8229. Dr. Cornell, your number?
253-549-1271.
Perfect. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, and thanks for tuning in.
thank you.